From the FSU basketball practice facility, it is the best view in the house. Welcome on in, everybody, to State of the Noles, where we here at the FSView provide you our strongest content throughout the week and talk about the biggest and brightest things happening in Florida State athletics. Alongside Alfy Flores, I am Michael Hudak. Alfy, there's no such thing as a good loss, ever. But last night's loss for FSU men's basketball against Louisville was pretty bad. 73-69, the final score. The Seminoles got off to a 9-0 lead in that game and kind of got a little too comfortable and then couldn't make a shot in the second half, it seemed. What to you went wrong for Florida State men's basketball?
Well, when Florida State is only relying on two players, Brian Angola and Terrence Mann, each scoring 25 and 18 points respectively, it's really hard for offense to get going when the bench isn't producing, when one of your star players, Phil Kofer, only scores 3 points from on 1 for 10 shooting. It's really hard to come back and maintain leads.
And you mentioned Phil Kofer, which is interesting because Kofer has been one of the senior standouts so far this season, scoring a career high at Duke. I mean, he has been the guy stepping up for this team when they needed a leader, and he was nowhere to be found last night. I think that's a huge part of the reason why they lost. You mentioned the starting five production for Florida State with the lack of the bench production. A similar problem is happening for Florida State women's basketball. They lost to Syracuse this past weekend, and while Sue Semrau's crew is still a force to be reckoned with, excuse me, they come home to play Miami tonight at the Donald L. Tucker Center. What are you expecting from Florida State women's basketball tonight?
Well, it's the same case as it is with the men. When you're relying on two players, in the women's case, you're relying on Shakayla Thomas, who's averaging 18 points per game, and Imani Wright, who's averaging more than 17 points per game. It's really hard to keep leads and maintain them, and that's what happened in Syracuse. It's just a bad drop off. Which
is interesting again because the starting five is one of the best that Sue Semrau has ever had. I never thought that AJ Alex would have gelled with the group as quickly as she has, and she's right with it. She is exactly what this team has needed. Shakayla Thomas, one of the best players in the country. Imani Wright, a great three-point shooter. But you're right, they are kind of missing that depth to give those starters a break, and that's why better teams in the ACC specifically can give them a problem. Fixing a problem was the hiring of Willie Taggart, which is something we still really haven't talked about in any of these videos. So I've never seen a coaching change go so well. Such a positive reaction for a guy who has been a Seminole his entire career, his entire life, I should say. What to you stands out the most from Willie Taggart over this course of a month that you've gotten to know him?
Well, once Willie Taggart came on board, it was just the dominoes just started falling. All the hirings just came. Recruits started coming back to Florida State, and overall, just the atmosphere at Florida State, it was just so encouraging and so optimistic that it's going to be tough for Willie to not have such a successful team around him when he already has an amazing student body and just a lot of support outside.
Alongside Alfy Flores, I am Michael Hudak. This is State of the Noles. Thank you for watching.